Sup you beautiful people. Hope you've had a fantastic day. Welcome back to another new episode of What If Naruto Was in the Marvel Universe. If you guys enjoyed this what if, comment down below and let me know. And go ahead and check out other what ifs in the channel after watching this video. Don't forget to subscribe and leave a like, and also share this video with your friends. Before we get into it though, check out Bilibili Comics. Bilibili Comics is the official trusted place to read hit exclusive series from top creators. Bilibili Comics is a great online webtoons and webcomics reader among all reading apps. Enjoy the best new comics, manhwa, and exclusive webtoons on Bilibili Comics. Download the app now and jump right into it. The link is in the description. Now let's start this video. Stark Mansion, Los Angeles, California. January 28, 2007, 9:30 local. Okay. New rule. Naruto cooks every time he's here. Pepper moaned out when she tasted Naruto's version of English breakfast. She had no idea how Naruto converted their half-cooked meals to one of the most glorious meals she ever had. She finally understood why Shokugakure is hauling cash. With Naruto's recipe, everyone would be tripping over themselves for it. Seconded. Tony said vehemently. If he's cooking, call me anytime. Rody said. How the hell did you make freshly squeezed dodge this good? While everyone was praising Naruto for his cooking, he's sitting on the corner of table pouting while eating. He can't believe Pepper would ban ramen. As they were eating, Happy decided to walk in, looking a little pissed. So I just got off talking to Kate, do you know what she said? Happy said to Tony while holding his phone. Who's Kate? Tony asked, being a rich ex-playboy really makes it hard to distinguish female names sometimes. Kate Macer. Happy said, expecting Tony to remember her. You know, Assistant Director of the FBI Kate Macer. Tony still didn't recognize the name. Happy hated to continue, but he wanted Tony to remember her to make the following conversation easier. 2K turn of the century party, Redeed in a black dress. Happy finally said, reminding Tony of the night they met and supposedly had a one-night stand. Damn. The one who looks like a model. She's AD now. Tony asked, unintentionally slipping more than he wanted to say, which caused Pepper to slap Tony in the arm and give him a disapproving stare. Anyways, Happy continued hoping to continue the conversation. He served himself some breakfast. She said there are no spooks assigned to you guys at your house. That includes the CIA, NSA, Homeland, and DOD. She's going to send someone to look into it. Happy said before taking a bite of the eggs and bacon. Damn. This is good. Brody. Try to find something on your end. I don't want anyone else to know about Morgan. Tony said seriously. No problem. I have some Black Ops contacts. Maybe it's something from there. Brody replied. Being a relatively high-ranked personnel, he acknowledges that the military and other agencies are always doing questionable stuff. Tony also has some experience with Black Ops, since they first test a lot of his projects. Why don't you let me handle them? It'll only take a few minutes. Naruto offhandedly suggested. You? Ha. Come on. It's one thing to take our mob thugs by surprise, but dealing with trained agents, that's a whole other ballpark. Rody exclaimed. His pride doesn't want to concede that some guy would be able to hold himself against rigorously trained agents. Wait a second. I saw what he could do. If no one officially sanctioned the guys surveilling us, Naruto could take them down now and ask questions later. Tony explained. He was seriously considering sicking Naruto against those guys. There's no one taking down anyone. We are going to finish this nice breakfast and let that FBI AD handle the situation. Pepper said, chastising everyone while adding a little bite when referring to the Kate Macer. Pepper faced Naruto and asked, so what got you in a rush the other day? Oh? I got a date. Naruto said with a wide smile. You ran out of the house in a hurry to get a date. Why the hell did it take you a day and a half to get a date? Tony asked incredulously. Well, there was an emergency I have to look into. That took me around a day to straighten out, but by the end of the day, I got a date. I've meant to ask her out for some time, but responsibilities got in the way. Naruto explained. So, you knew her for quite a while? Pepper asked, suddenly interested in the conversation. Not exactly, it's more of an I know of her kind of situation, but we already met personally before. She hot? Rody asked without tact. Oh yeah, definitely. Naruto answered with a grin. But it's more than that. Pepper appreciated that Naruto asked a girl out not only because of her look. She can hurt you more ways than you can imagine. The woman can defend herself. That's when Pepper knew she spoke too soon. What? Is she a copper soldier? Happy asked. Nope. Naruto answered with a mischievous smile. Pepper had that bad feeling again. Every time she saw Naruto with that smile, she just knew another headache is coming her way. She's a spy. Yup, that migraine is going to hit her hard. Rody, who decided that it was the right time to drink Samaj, spat everything behind him and went into a coughing fit. How the hell did you meet a spy? Tony asked, completely ignoring his best friend's predicament. Remember how I said I lost all my stuff on the way to Vegas? Yes. Tony drawled out. She's the one that gave me a ride to Vegas. She was on vacation doing something in your company. Naruto casually answered. This time, it's Tony's turn to take a double take. You mean there was a spy in the company, and you didn't tell me? Tony said in mock seriousness. Get over yourself. You know you have spies in your company. I bet you even know them. Naruto said before facing Pepper. Quick. How many spies are there in all your US-based main company facilities? 127. Pepper said, a little shocked. How the hell can someone know that they knew about the spies? A whole new secret division had been made just to keep that a secret. Naruto then faced Happy and asked. How many are corporate spies? 96. Happy replied. If Pepper has no problem revealing what they know, there's no way he would raise a fuss now. Wrong. Only 84 of what you know are corporate spies. Other countries sent the rest. Naruto said. That revelation concerned Pepper. How can Naruto know what they do and don't know? But the revelations are not over. On top of the 127, there are also 33 deep cover spies that you haven't discovered yet. As for the whole Stark conglomerate, there are 2866 spies in total. The one I asked out for a date, she just went in and took care of a deep cover spy from China you didn't know about. I say that's a positive mark in my books. Naruto finally finished, leaving everyone gobsmacked. Rody was the first one to recover. He immediately stood up and drew his gun, aiming it directly at Naruto, who just kept eating. Who are you, and what did you do before? Rody asked. If the man is as skilled in combat as Tony makes him out to be, he can only be three things: ex-special forces, mercenary, or an operator, which is a more combat-oriented spy. All of which doesn't precisely inspire relaxing thoughts in their current predicament. Pepper rapidly pulled Morgan away from the unfolding situation. Her only thought is to keep her safe. Tony and Happy are trying to defuse the crisis to keep them from escalating. As I said before, I am Naruto Uzumaki, and I was a freelance contractor. Naruto answered slowly. Freelance contractor is another term used for mercenary or assassin. Rody stated while getting a little more twitchy-fingered. Everyone is now seriously worried about what would happen next. Damn. Is that what that means? I guess that's why my date was tense when I said that. Naruto mused. Rody saw that Naruto's attention is slipping off from him, so he snapped his fingers to get it back again. Oh, hey. Where was I? Freelance contractor. Happy helpfully added. Right? Naruto said while giving Happy an appreciative nod. I really was a freelance contractor. Like I would do almost any job. From menial tasks like house cleaning and face painting all the way to the harder ones like search and retrieval and bodyguard jobs. Hell, one time, I helped build a bridge while protecting a drunk architect. Good times. Naruto finished describing his job description while having a nostalgic look on his face. What the hell kind of job is that? Rody asked, not thinking there's a job that does all that. Told you. Freelance contractor. Naruto answered while looking at Rody like he's stupid. So you did bodyguard jobs. Is that why you approached Tony? Rody asked, still trying to figure out Naruto. Nope. Didn't even know him then. I just figured out who he is when I traveled. Happy decided to ask something that's been bugging him in Pepper. Rody already started asking anyway. How did you find out about the inner workings of Stark Industries? 2 words. Drinking game. Naruto said like it explained everything. When he saw no one got it, he continued. A lot of your employees are lightweight. I met some during my travels. When I figured out they work for you, I decided I want to ask more questions. It kind of spiraled from there. Pepper latched onto what he said and said. No one would just tell you sensitive corporate secrets. Hey. People just kind of trust me. I'm still staying here, am I? Naruto stated the obvious. He got you there. Tony said towards Pepper, which just irked her. With all that cleared up, Rody put that gun away. Everyone sit down, and let's eat before the food gets any colder. Rody holstered his gun but still looking at Naruto warily. Pepper sat Morgan back on her chair and thought about how can it be so different from just adding one person in the scenario. Happy is thinking about what Naruto said about the spies in the company. So now everything has chilled out, we can now discuss something more important, about someone's date with a venerable super spy. He said, oozing with giddiness. So, what's your plan? I don't know. I've only been on a few dates, and my knowledge doesn't seem to apply this time. What? That wouldn't do for my business partner. Let me give you some advice. Tony sagely said while pushing Naruto out of the room. There's no way in hell he'll discuss these things in front of Pepper. Pepper saw how excited Tony was and knew immediately that it would be a recipe for disaster. James, can you just go with them? Don't let Tony get overboard. Pepper requested. On it. Rody said before standing up and following the pair. Triskelion, Washington, D.C. January 28, 2007, 1300 hours local. An older man in a suit is pacing back and forth inside the director's office in the Triskelion. His anxiousness visible for everyone to see. His name is Alexander Pierce, the current secretary of the World Security Council. He's a 5'10", 75 years old, Caucasian man, with dirty blonde hair and blue eyes. He worked for the State Department, where his work led him to be a candidate for the Nobel Peace Prize, which he turned down. His impressive resume fast-tracked him to be a secretary for the World Security Council. He used his position to nominate Nick Fury as the new director, which formed some type of friendship between the two. But of course, there are always wolves dressed as lambs. Pierce is secretly an undercover Hydra agent recruited during his time in the State Department. He's the highest positioned mole of Hydra in the SHIELD and the US government. His job is to subtly recruit agents for Hydra, as well as ensure the organization is hidden until they are ready to show themselves. The reason Pierce is in Fury's office is that he heard that his private jet has landed. The fuck-up in Budapest already cost them Bloom, one of Hydra's most effective finance administrators, and now he heard they have nothing to show for it. He was the one that alerted the Hydra's High Council about Romanov's impromptu mission. The council immediately pounced on the opportunity to grab Romanov in hopes of finding out who the information broker called Nine Tails is. His sources told him about Romanov, Barton, Coulson, and even Fury himself, knowing who the Nine Tails himself, with Romanov being the most likely. Fury supposedly saw a photo of the Nine Tails face, but there was only one copy, and it is heavily guarded. The whole plan in Budapest was to capture Romanov and force her to tell them what she knows, while using Barton as a bargaining chip. They wouldn't even try to do something as daring before, but desperate times call for drastic measures. The Nine Tails is just becoming too big of a problem only to be considered a nuisance. The son of a bitch has managed to decrease their income by as much as 60% in just the first year he's been active. Terrorist cells, drug cartels, government financial overflow, and corporate profits through off-the-book operations are being taken down one by selling undisputable evidence to the authorities. They can't even control them in the shadows anymore, since Nine Tails just goes with another group if they don't act on the information. That's why they also sent their ultimate weapon, the Winter Soldier, to make sure everything goes smoothly. The plan in Budapest was going as planned when the Nine Tails himself decided to fix his supposed fuck-up. He never thought that killing the original seller and meeting the general themselves to ambush Romanov and Barton would call for the Nine Tails to show himself. He would usually be happy to know that Hydra could finally capture or kill him, but the whole thing was literally a bloodbath. Only the Winter Soldier managed to escape, but his metal arm was turned into a venerable pile of scrap. The only good thing that happened was that the Nine Tails surrendered himself when he urged Fury to send reinforcements in the guise of helping the team the moment Bloom went dark. He watched the live feed of the guards bringing Nine Tails in the Omega Cell, excited to finally the face of the man who's fucking with them, but he guessed his excitement came by too soon. No one can remove the mask, and the man himself won't remove it, so they were forced to leave it on. Pierce also watched Fury interrogating the Nine Tails, but Fury closed the mic off before he went in. He can't even use a lip-reading program since Fury is facing away from the camera, and the Nine Tails was still wearing the goddamn mask. In the end, Fury placed the cell on lockdown, effectively cutting the feed off. When it resumed, everyone was a little shell-shocked, and the Nine Tails was nowhere to be seen. Preliminary reports from the RAF said that the man was never imprisoned in the first place, only a clone was placed inside the cell. Only one thing caused his anxiousness, the possibility of the Nine Tails getting information on Bloom and selling it to Fury. Pierce is only there to see if Fury learned something new. Pierce turned around when he heard the door open. He saw Fury walking in with Coulson and Hill on his right and left, respectively. What the hell happened? Pierce said with as much authoritative tone as he can muster. The Nine Tails never surrendered. He just left a clone behind, and that's who we caught. Fury said smoothly while walking towards his desk. As for Budapest, I say he did us a favor, although he could try to be a little cleaner. Is there anything you found out about Budapest? Pierce asked, keeping a calm demeanor. If Fury found out about Hydra, they might need to push forward with their plan, even if Project Insight still has at least 5 years before completion. They're an organized paramilitary group, and they killed the original seller just to ambush my team. We haven't found out more about them, but I will find out how they knew about the mission. Fury said with conviction. Pierce was immediately on high alert. The only reason Fury still hasn't found out about them was because they stay well away from his radar. Let me handle that one. I'll assign Garrett or Sitwell on it. You already have too much on your plate already, Pierce suggested, hoping if he assigned it to either of them, they can control the investigation. Sure, go ahead. But I want a copy of every report they send out, Fury said. Of course, Pierce said while secretly releasing a sigh of relief. Did you find out about anything on this Nine Tails? Cause he's got to be stopped or at least work for us. He's making everyone look bad, he asked, hoping to get a new lead. Not much. The only new information I have is that he likes fucking with people and has eyes and ears everywhere. He implied that he only showed up in Budapest, since he saw a different man show up as the seller. Other than that, I have no idea, and I hate not knowing something. Pierce processed the information and came up with one conclusion: if they mess another one of his intelligence, they can make him show up. Before I leave, why did you lock down the cell? Because he said he could get out anytime. I just wanted to be sure he can't. I guess it was no use after all, since I popped into a cloud of smoke after a while. Fury answered, mixing lies and truth. Alright. I'll let Garrett handle the investigation. He's just traveling around. It's easier for him to get some info. I'll see you some other time, Nick. Pierce said before leaving the room. Silence permeates the room until Fury walked over to his desk and pushed a button. It was one of the personal features Fury added to the office. It will cut off all forms of outgoing communication in the office, even hardline, making it impossible to eavesdrop in it. The only way to get something is to leave a remote recording device inside the room and retrieving it for later. Add Garrett and Sitwell to the list. Fury ominously ordered when he was sure no one else could listen in. Already added, sir. Coulson said a little subdued. He and Sitwell were classmates inside S.H.I.E.L.D. Academy and grew to be friends. How many does that make it? Fury asked, already knowing the answer. 3. Pierce, Sitwell, and Garrett. What are we talking about, boss? Maria Hill finally interjected, not appreciating being left out of the conversation. Maria Hill is a 5'8", 25-year-old Caucasian woman with black hair and blue eyes. She was personally hired directly by Fury 2 years ago from the army. Her sharp mind and eye for details led her to become one of the fastest rising stars in the agency. She's being groomed by Fury to be the next deputy director, since Coulson wants to remain to be a field agent. Her current job is to be Fury's secretary, as well as lead some missions in her free time. Funny you should ask Hill because we're going to need your help. But first, let me ask you a question. Fury said while fixing her with an intense stare. Sure, boss. Hill answered. If Fury asks you to do something, you don't say no, since it usually deals with matters of national security. What would you do when I say Hydra is growing inside of S.H.I.E.L.D.? Fury asked. Hill had to pause to process what Fury said. After a few seconds, she finally decided to answer the question with her own. What? Clint's Homestead, Missouri. January 28, 2007, 1600 hours local. Homestead, an apt name for Clint's haven. The whole 5 hectares of land surrounding his home were bought through dozens of shell companies and overseas transactions, making it virtually impossible to find details about it. Fury helped him set it up in 1999 when he married his high school sweetheart, Laura, as a precaution against the dozens of enemies he made during his time as an agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. The house itself was built using his own hands through a year of hard work. The barn and storage shed followed close after. As for the farm they have planned, that's still up in the air. His erratic workdays make it virtually impossible to maintain it. The only reason the house was still standing was because of Laura. Laura Barton is a 5'3", 29-year-old Caucasian woman with dark brown hair and brown eyes. She and Clint have already been dating since they were 14. Since then, she knew that being with Clint would be a daunting task, and it proved to be correct, but the love they had for each other made it possible to weather through the challenges and made the best of the situation. She can honestly say that she is happy with how her life turned out. Clint considers Laura as some kind of a martyr. Having a family with a man who's gone most of the time is already a sacrifice, but living in a semi-isolated area for their safety, well, that's just crazy. That just made Clint love Laura even more. Their first real challenge was when Lila was born. Living in isolation would stunt her development. It's a good thing he worked for a spy agency cause Fury was able to set up solid false identities for Laura and Lila, making it possible for Lila to attend classes safely in the coming school year. Clint is now landing in an open field in front of his home. Recently, he's been using a decommissioned Quinjet to come home. It's stealthy, fast, and, most of all, untraceable with only a push of a button. A heavily pregnant Laura was playing with Lila in the living room when she saw through the window the telltale signs of an invisible plane landing on the field. She still can't believe that technology has already progressed that far, no matter how many times she saw it. Excited to meet her husband again, she urged Lila to meet him at the door. Come on, Lila. Let's meet, Daddy. Laura said with a smile. Lila immediately stood up and bounded towards the door with her mother not far behind. Lila stopped at the door and impatiently waiting for her mother, remembering that she shouldn't be opening the front door without her parents' permission. Go on, Laura said, giving permission. Lila opened it without a second wasted and went outside. Clint was walking down the path when he saw the door open, revealing Lila and Laura, causing him to smile involuntarily. Honey, I brought a guest, Clint said, pointing at Natasha not far behind him carrying a small suitcase. Ever since Clint first brought Natasha to the homestead, she had been staying there when she can get to the point that they gave her a room. Nat and Laura immediately hit it off even though they have different life experiences. Lila jumped to Clint's arms the moment he stepped on the porch, and Laura gave him a kiss and a hug, which they kept PG entirely. Laura then walked over to Nat and hugged her. I thought you wouldn't come home for another 2 weeks, Laura asked while herding them all inside. She's happy that they're home early, but it usually means they were in a hard mission, and Fury gave them time off. It's a long story. We'll tell you about it over dinner. But for now, I want to change into something more comfortable. Clint said, referring to the combat gear he's still wearing. Natasha already changed into her casual wear before leaving Washington. Come on, Lil. Help Daddy choose what he's going to wear. Clint then carried Lila and his duffel bag up the stairs. Laura waited for a while to make sure Clint is in the bedroom before leading Natasha to the kitchen. How close were you? Laura asked Natasha with a hint of fear in her voice. Natasha knew this conversation would come up the moment Laura saw them, but it doesn't make it easier for her to answer. Too close, Natasha finally said after a few seconds. She took a deep breath and continued. By all accounts, we shouldn't even hear. Only unlikely reinforcement got us out of there in one piece. Nat's answer caused Laura to tear up a little bit. No wife ever wanted to hear her husband almost died, but Laura decided long ago that if she were going to be a wife to Clint, she would at least try to know everything that's happening. Who? Laura asked in a quiet voice. You remember the guy we've been chasing around? Naruto? Natasha asked. Laura nodded, remembering how stressed out Clint every time he comes home. That's one of the reasons why Killer has been conceived. He's the one that came to help. Apparently, he doesn't want when the info he sold went bad. Clint would probably tell a more subdued version, but overall, everything just got more complicated. Clint and Lila came down a few minutes later. The family decided it's better to have an early dinner. Clint and Laura prepared the meal, just enjoying each other's company, while Natasha and Lila are playing in the living room. As expected, Clint told a heavily censored version of what happened over dinner, while giving a hint at parts he can't explicitly say, like Hydra agents and S.H.I.E.L.D. and the captain being possibly still alive. The conversation moved on to lighter topics as the meal continued forward. After finishing the meal and cleaning up the table, Lila moved to the living room to watch some TV, while the adults set up on the island, so they can still keep an eye on her. Ask Nat what's her plan tomorrow. Come on, ask her, Clint said, urging Laura. His demeanor was battling between annoyance and excitement. Okay. Sheesh. Calm down, hun, Laura said, trying to bring down her husband's nervous energy, but it didn't do anything. She finally faced Nat just to move the conversation along. What's your plan for tomorrow? Natasha weirdly turned slightly red, but she still showed a calm and collected exterior. I have a date, Natasha answered candidly. Like for a mission? Laura asked, knowing that Natasha does a lot of seduction jobs. She still doesn't know precisely what Natasha's training was like, but she had an idea. I'm not sure, Natasha said while having a contemplative look. I'm just going to say halfway in between a mission and personal thing. How did that happen? After we brought in Naruto, he kind of forced us into a situation where we had to bargain with him for information. The first thing he asked was something that could be expected, but the second one hit everyone by surprise. Natasha explained. He asked you out, didn't he? Yup. Natasha answered with a nod. I said yes, of course, but everyone is trying to make it a surveillance mission. Clint here wanted to air support for Christ's sake. She finished with an exasperated sigh. Laura shot Clint a shocked and disappointed look. What? You haven't seen the guy? He's like an annoying kid who turned into Robocop. Clint defended himself before standing up and retreating towards Lila. He's the same guy you met in Vegas, right? Laura asked. The same one? Fuck. Natasha added the last part when she suddenly remembered a detail that might have slipped their minds. What? I might have forgotten that he may or may not be an alien. Oh? Was the only thing that came out of Laura's mouth. Does he at least look human? Yes. A cute one too. Wait, I got a picture, Natasha said before fishing out her phone from her pocket. She started scrolling on her phone when she found a picture of Naruto from her car footage. Here, he is. Wow. How can someone look cute and ruggedly handsome? Laura suddenly blurted out. Is that Whiskers? What is he? An alien humanoid cat. More like a fox, Natasha corrected. His codename is Nine Tails, which can be linked to a nine-tailed fox demon in Japanese culture. Ha. You learn something new every day, Laura said with a thoughtful look. So when and where are you meeting? 8 am, but as for where, he said he'd pick me up, Natasha said, slightly unsure. How would he manage that? We're basically in the middle of nowhere. I don't know, but I'm going to make him work for it, Natasha said with a giggle. She then looked at Laura's stomach and asked, You're due any week now, right? Any day, Laura corrected with a groan. Don't get me wrong, I love this kid, but I just can't wait for him to pop out. Is the midwife ready? Natasha asked. Yes, but there might be a problem with that. Another pregnancy has a close due date, with ours only a difference of 2 days. If the labor starts at the same time, only one of us would be attended, Laura said, visibly worried. Clint decided to walk in and interject conversation carrying Lila. I'll tuck Lila in and head to bed myself. Good night, Han. Don't stay up too late, Clint said before kissing Laura. He then faced Nat and said in a serious voice, May God have mercy on your soul, before running away. Natasha just let it slide, she'll get him back tomorrow after her date. I think I'll head to bed too. Laura stood up and hugged Natasha. I hope you have a great time tomorrow. Good night, she whispered to Nat's ear. Okay. I'll just stay up for a little bit, Natasha said before waving Laura off. She stared at her luggage and sighed. Guess I should prepare my gear. Already surrendering to the thought that the date would not be a typical one. Clint's Homestead, Missouri. January 29, 2007, 7:45 local. Wow. You pulled out all the stops. Laura reacted when she saw Natasha walk down the stairs. She's wearing dark blue fitted jeans, a black camisole under a leather jacket, and brown boots. It's not too much, right? Natasha asked with an uncharacteristically nervous voice. No? It's perfect. He's going to love it, Laura said while hugging Natasha. She then started patting Nat when she felt something under her outfit. Don't take this the wrong way, but why are you carrying what felt like a whole armory? And are you wearing your bulletproof jacket? Clint was not overreacting. Every time I'm with Naruto, something is happening. But to be fair, I only met him twice, Natasha said before both of them walked towards the kitchen where Clint is cooking breakfast. You have your phone and band? Clint asked without looking behind him. What are you? My dad, Natasha answered back with a bit of attitude. Clint turned around and gave Natasha a disapproving stare. Just answer the question. Yes, Dad. Have it with me, she said sarcastically. Where are you meeting him again? Clint continued, glossing over Natasha's attitude. I assumed here. Clint stumbled when he heard the answer. No one should know about this place, and judging from Laura's lack of reaction, she already knew what Natasha said. What? I said here, Natasha answered without a second thought. That shouldn't be a surprise. He's a teleporting super soldier. He probably knows everything about us the moment we started following his trail, she offhandedly finished. No way. This place doesn't even show up on any maps, Clint said, not entirely confident with his assertion. You're still saying that after everything, Natasha said with a shake of her head. That's when they heard the sound of a motorcycle getting closer. Son of a bitch, Clint exclaimed under his breath before running out of the front door, making sure that he grabbed the bow and quiver hanging near the door. When he got outside, he saw a man riding a large motorcycle breaking through the tree line. Maybe bullets just don't work. Arrows might be the way to go, he whispered to himself while knocking an arrow. When Natasha and Laura finally exited the home, they only saw Clint releasing the arrow, which headed straight towards the man on the motorcycle. The arrow pierced the helmet's face shield, presumably piercing also the man's face. Clint, Laura shouted, shocked at the series of events. She was going to charge at her husband and pummel him to the ground when Natasha pulled her back. Let me go. He can't just kill anyone when somebody shows up, she shouted while trying to get free from Natasha's hold, but it just gets tighter. He's not dead. Look at him. He's still going, Natasha said a little forcefully while pointing at the still rapidly approaching motorcycle. How? Laura asked in disbelief. That's Naruto. No other way to go about that, Natasha answered like it explained everything. Naruto finally reached the front porch of the house. He removed his helmet, which suddenly disappeared, and immediately started ranting. What the hell? I just borrowed that helmet. You just shoot everyone you meet. How have you even got married? Of course, I'll shoot you. You just showed up in a place that could be considered a black site. And besides, you took my bow, Clint answered back. You want your bow? Naruto asked while pulling something behind him. Here, you go. He then tossed a 5-foot-long case. Told you, you'll get it back. Natasha and Laura are just watching the play-by-play. Are they always like this? Laura asked. They only met twice, including now, so yeah, Natasha confirmed. Naruto finally noticed Laura and Natasha standing behind Clint. He was immediately mesmerized by Natasha. Wow, you look great, Naruto said seriously. Thank you. You don't look too bad too, Natasha complimented back while eyeing Naruto. He's currently wearing navy blue jeans, a white shirt with fox prints covered by a burnt orange jacket, and brown biker boots. The jacket accentuated his broad shoulders. This is for you, Naruto said while offering Natasha a bouquet of assorted flowers with a box of Eurasian kunai in the center. The knives are special. Just throw it anywhere, and I'll know when you're in trouble. I guess those would be more useful than chocolate. Thank you. That's sweet of you. I'll just place it inside, she said while pocketing a Eurasian kunai. I might need this later. Natasha then went inside. You must be Laura. I'm sorry for coming by unannounced. I hope you can accept this as an apology, Naruto said to Laura while rolling over a mammoth cooler that he retrieved from somewhere behind him. These are all ready-to-eat meals. By the way, Clint and Fury did an excellent job of hiding you. Thank you, I guess, Laura replied awkwardly. Natasha exited the house again a little more excited. Let's go, she said, pulling Naruto towards the bike. Where are we going anyway? It's a surprise, Naruto said with a grin. He then handed over an all-black helmet towards her. Safety first. How do you do that? Natasha said, taking the helmet and fixing it on her head. Do what? The taking something out of thin air thing. Trade secret. We have a lot of time to get to know each other, Naruto answered before he spotted Clint opening the case. Come on. We want to be far away from here when he sees what's inside, Naruto said while quickly riding the motorcycle. Natasha didn't even try to question him and mounted the bike behind Naruto. Grab onto something, Naruto advised before rushing away from the house. When they're around 100 meters away, Natasha could faintly hear Clint shouting something about his bow being pink. She giggled uncontrollably, immediately enjoying the start. Naruto rode hard until they reached the tree line where they suddenly disappeared, bike and all. Rome, Italy. January 29, 2007, 15:15 local. Ugh. That's even worse than the first time, Natasha said to no one in particular, but Naruto heard it through the microphone and sound system built into the helmet. Hahaha. You took it a whole lot better than when I first experienced it. I puked my guts out, Naruto confessed while laughing. And you used it without telling me first. I'm wearing a helmet, think about it for a second, Natasha chastised. Naruto did as she asked, and it doesn't paint a pretty picture. Wow. That's bad. I'm sorry, Naruto apologized, properly chastised. Just remember next time, Natasha instructed. That's when she decided to look around the surroundings they're riding through. She noticed that the old buildings and classical architecture not found anywhere in the US. Are we in Rome? Yup. I found the second greatest food after ramen at a restaurant around here when I was traveling. I'm bringing you there, Naruto said, visibly excited while maneuvering around Rome's side roads. Wow. You're pulling all the stops, Natasha teased. Of course. I have one shot to impress the lady, Naruto declared vehemently. Natasha couldn't help but laugh at Naruto's enthusiasm. And we have arrived, my lady, Naruto said in an aristocratic voice before stopping in front of a small restaurant. Natasha dismounted the bike and removed her helmet. She was fully expecting Naruto to bring her to some fancy restaurant to impress her, but this is a whole lot better. She turned around and saw Naruto locking the bike. That's when she noticed something. What make and model is your bike? I don't recognize it, Natasha asked, genuinely interested. One of her hobbies that doesn't directly relate to her job is working on her bikes. She loves how she can build up a monster of a motorcycle and being able to tame it. It's like a cathartic experience for her. Built it myself, Naruto answered like it wasn't a big deal. He started building the bike when he was in Japan and saw a motorcycle racing tournament. The moment he saw those high-speed two-wheelers, he was hooked. He bought 5 different bike models: Honda CBR 1000RR, Kawasaki ZX-10R, Suzuki GSX R1000, Yamaha YZF-R1, and finally, Ducati Supersport 1000 DS. He had teams of clones disassemble and reassemble all of the bikes, trying to understand how each of the parts works. It took 3 months before the clones are satisfied and dispelled, giving him all the knowledge on how the bike works. He used his knowledge of the parts and the incredibly versatile chakra metal to create the ultimate superbike. Even now, when a new superbike comes out, he buys it and studies it, looking for any ways he can improve his bike. You built that? Where did you get the parts? I can't recognize most of it, Natasha asked, her enthusiasm rising. You shouldn't, Naruto offhandedly said while calling Natasha over to analyze his bike. When she got closer, she noticed that she couldn't even identify the material. I started from scratch. Studied every bike I can get my hands on until I have an idea on how to build my own. I made everything myself, including the nuts, bolts, engine, suspension. The whole thing is customized to my specification. I call it Raijin. Named it after the Japanese god of thunder, lightning, and storms. If it were possible to orgasm at just the thought of the superbike, Natasha would have done it multiple times at this point. What are the specs? Natasha asked quietly, excited and afraid at the same time to hear the answer. Naruto's grin just got even more feral, which weirdly attracted her. Raijin is an 8-cylinder, 3000 cc's, 1000 horsepower beast of a machine that can go from 0 to 100 kph in 1.5 seconds flat, and has a top speed of 500 kph. Naruto answered promptly. Of course, all of those are without the Fuinjutsu enhancements activated. Only the chakra needed to transform the properties of the chakra metal are currently running through it. He still hadn't tested how much the Fuinjutsu improvements would affect the superbike. As for the fuel, it uses premium gasoline, but it can also run on chakra input. Natasha is practically drooling. The bike Naruto made is probably the most powerful street-legal machine ever built, and that includes cars. The only more powerful street-legal vehicle she can think of is the 1001 horsepower Bugatti Veyron, and this bike can make the Veyron look like a freaking beetle. On our next date, you're going to help me build one of these, Natasha said with conviction, only realizing what she said after causing her to turn slightly red. So there's a next date. That's good to know, Naruto teased with a wide smile. He then took Natasha's hand and pulled her gently inside the restaurant. Come on. We'll miss our reservation. Natasha saw a typical family restaurant set up on the inside. A few tables and chairs here and there, corner booths for a more private setting, a wine rack, and an open view to the kitchen. There were only around 10 employees inside, including the cooks and waiters milling around. A lot of natural lighting is used, which makes the whole ambience more open. Naruto walked to the receptionist and spoke in fluent Italian. "Excuse me. I have a reservation under the name Fox," Naruto said politely. "Of course, sir. Let me check for a moment," the receptionist replied while opening the reservation book. "While you're at it, can you tell me if Leon is inside?" Naruto asked. The receptionist looked a little surprised that someone knew her boss, but she just answered it like a professional. "Yes, sir. He's in the back room," she answered before finding a 3:30 reservation for Volk marked with VIP. "Follow me, sir. We have a booth reserved for you," the receptionist said while leading them to a secluded box at the back of the restaurant. "Here we are. The waiter will be with you shortly." She then walked away. "I didn't know you speak Italian," Natasha said, impressed. "You pick up a lot of things if you have as much free time as I have," Naruto confessed. "You still have a lot of free time, even while running your other business," referring to Naruto's information brokering and mercenary venture. "Yup. The network pretty much runs itself, while the hands-on part just happens from time to time," Naruto explained. "You should probably text Coulson or Fury." "Why?" "Not really wanting to let S.H.I.E.L.D. be in her business. Because the jump from Missouri to Rome might have destroyed that watch of yours," Naruto answered while scratching the back of his head. Natasha immediately checked over her watch and saw that it's not moving. She removed it from her wrist and checked the inner mechanism. The moment she opened it, she saw the fried circuits and a part that doesn't belong. "Fuck. I'll kill them. I told them no mix," Nat angrily mumbled to herself. She doesn't know if she's worried or happy that the band was destroyed. Natasha pocketed the watch and retrieved her phone. She texted Coulson that everything was okay and they shouldn't panic, but not adding their current location. She wants them to work for it. That's when a man walked over to their table. He's a 6'2" Italian man with receding pepper-colored hair, brown eyes, and trimmed beard. He also wears a black coat and dark-colored glasses that are perched at the tip of his nose. Natasha stared at the man, trying to remember him. She knows that she met him before but didn't remember when and where. "Naruto, you didn't tell me your date is the beautiful Signora Vidova," the man said with a knowing smile. Natasha quickly reassessed the situation. She rechecked the entry and exit points, as well as the possible number of hostels. While Natasha is formulating an exit plan, the man and Naruto just kept on talking. "Awesome, right? I can't believe she said yes," Naruto said while smiling, still not recognizing the fact that he essentially blackmailed her into saying yes. "How are you anyway, Leon?" he asked the now identified Leon. The mention of the man's name snapped Natasha out of her musing. She recognizes the name. Leon was a New York-based hitman that did several hard jobs that made him a legend in the community. Apparently, reports of his death 7 years ago are exaggerated. "I'm doing great. The info you gave me 2 months ago helped a lot," Leon answered. He then faced Natasha and gave a small bow. "Pleasure to meet you, Signor Romanov. I assure you that I am out of the game for a long time. Besides, Naruto here is a friend, and it would be a shame for his date to end abruptly," he reassured with a smile. "Nice to meet you too. I see that you are alive and well. Naruto surely has a wide range of friends," Natasha cautiously said. She has no idea if she would report this to S.H.I.E.L.D., but personally, she would just let him be. Leon laughed a little, recognizing that Naruto has a weird collection of acquaintances. "So, what would it be?" Leon asked their choice of meal. "I'll have a caprese with bread and a glass of Chardonnay," Natasha answered without pause. She already decided what she wanted to have when she learned that they are in Italy. "And you know what I'll have. Just add a margherita pizza and tiramisu to share." Naruto added his order. "Carpaccio and spaghetti al vongole with sparkling water." "Got it," Leon stated for confirmation before walking away. There was a small stretch of awkward silence between the two, probably because they have no idea where to start the conversation. Natasha only has been on one real date in her life, which abruptly ended when her date ran away scared. As for Naruto, he has only been on dates with one girl, and they already knew each other for quite a while. Natasha decided to throw caution in the wind and ask the question that's been bugging her for quite a while. "Are you human?" Naruto suddenly chokes in surprise, hearing the question. Of course, he knows about aliens, but he never considered himself as one. But thinking more about the definition of an alien, he is regarded as one. "No. At least I don't think I'm not," he answered, using a loophole. He is a human alien. A bizarre situation if you think about it. Then how can you do the things you do? The teleportation, cloning, and eye invulnerability. Natasha pushed forward. "That's a complicated question with a complicated answer," Naruto thoughtfully said. "It should be a third date question, I think, but for now, let's just say I'm special. We haven't even been on a second date, and there's already a third date. Aren't we moving too fast? What else do you think would happen on the third date?" Natasha teased this time. Luckily for Naruto, Leon and a pair of waiters served their orders at that time. "Your meal is served. Just call me if you need anything," Leon said before walking away. The meal went on smoothly. They just exchanged funny stories and experiences while making sure nothing too personal would come up. Some questions were answered, but most of them are skirted over, both of them not wanting to scare off a prospective partner. They stayed for 2 hours until people started to fill the restaurant for the evening rush. Naruto called over Leon so they could check out. Don't worry about the meal. It's on the house. Leon waved off. Thanks, Leon. I'll see you next time, Naruto said without fighting back. Thank you for the meal. I hope you can make your business grow, Natasha cordially said. She decided that she wouldn't mess up Leon's new life by putting him in Shield's radar. Leon nodded in appreciation and watched them walk out of the restaurant. He started cleaning the table when he saw a folder on Naruto's chair. He picked it up and opened it. Inside are different pictures of the girl walking around campus. He involuntarily shed a tear from seeing his adoptive daughter. Damn, you good, Naruto, Leon said to no one in particular. So where to next? Natasha asked when they exited the restaurant. She saw the folder Naruto left behind for Leon, but decided not to say anything about it. I'm going to show you something awesome, and the best part, you can bring it back to Fury, Naruto said while wearing his helmet. But I think you should wait until the rat's been dealt with, he finished while mounting his bike. Natasha quickly wore her helmet and got on behind Naruto, wrapping her arm around him and pressing herself. She felt a small shiver run through him. I think you just brought your bike so you can feel me behind you, Natasha teased behind him. I'm neither going to confirm or deny that, Naruto answered before revving the bike and shooting off. We're going to do a jump. Just saying. Natasha braced herself before the scenery suddenly changed from an alleyway in Rome into a jungle treeline with a salvage yard in the distance. Clint's Homestead, Missouri. January 29, 2007, 8:15 local. Why is my bow pink? Clint shouted. Laura finally understood the pair's dynamic. Naruto messes with Clint, and Clint retaliates. It's a vicious cycle that she can't help but laugh at. She looked over the case of her husband's bow, and quiver is and saw a piece of paper. She opened it and read it out loud. Just submerge in hot water for 30 minutes. At least it's not permanent. She said the last part to her husband with a comforting smile. I'm just going to use the bathtub, Clint said with a sigh. He placed his weapons inside the case again so it can be carried easier. Come on, hun. Let's go inside and have breakfast. Clint saw Laura frozen in place, a little scared. Hun. Laura. He tried to get her attention. When Laura snapped out of her stupor, she faced Clint and said, My water just broke. Thanks for listening. I do hope you enjoyed. If you want the next part of this video, like, subscribe and comment down below, and turn on the bell notification. And also check out other videos that I have created and enjoy. See you in the next video. Peace.